Hey folks, Gary here. Happy Wednesday morning to you. I hope your day is starting off really, really well. What a great day to be alive in. And it's also garbage day if you're in Whitewood. So if you're seeing this early enough, you want to get your garbage out because you don't want to hang on to that stuff. No one wants to hang on to garbage at all. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. We're looking at John chapter 8 and looking at Jesus being the light of the world. And so uh, John writes in verse 12, Jesus spoke to the people once more and said, I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness because you have the light that leads to life. So you have the light that leads to life. You don't have to walk in darkness any longer. Well, just prior to this in John 8, it talks about Jesus teaching. He's with a group of people and he's teaching them and they're really loving it. But the Pharisees, they get their nose out of joint, as they often would. And so they get upset. So they go and they find a woman who's caught in the act of adultery. Matter of fact, it says in verse 4, Teacher, they said to Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? And they put her in front of the crowd and everything, and she's embarrassed and just it's a bad scene. And the Pharisees are trying to trick Jesus. They're trying to trap him. It says in verse 6, they were trying to trap him into saying something they could use against him. So they're willing to kill this woman in order to make a point. This is the law. They have the law. They're saying, hey, now, why didn't they do this so much earlier? Why didn't they do they probably had time to do it before, but they're making a point at this moment that they're going to do it right now. They're using the law, and they're using the law to bring about death. The law was there to bring righteousness, but that's not what they're after. And so they're after trapping Jesus, and they're willing to kill somebody to do it. Well, Jesus, knowing what they're doing, he says to them, okay, that's the law. So whoever hasn't sinned, you can throw the first stone. Now, when he says, if you haven't sinned, you can do this, he's actually making a point, and what he's telling them is, you have all sinned. I know you've all sinned. Right? And so he gets down and he starts writing in the ground. A lot of people have a lot of ideas what he wrote. That part doesn't matter nearly as much. What really matters is no one's worthy to actually do this. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest until only Jesus was left. They slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, with the wisest, because the wisest was like, okay, the jig is up. I'm out of here. And Jesus says to the woman, where are your accusers? Is no one here to condemn you? She says, no, Lord. And he says, then neither do I. Jesus could. He's the only one who really could. But Jesus says, neither do I. Go and sin no more. He's saying, get that garbage out of here. He's telling the Pharisees, get that garbage out of here, what you're doing. And then John puts this right afterwards, whether it chronologically that happened that way or not, we don't know, but what we do know is John put it there for a reason. And right after that, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness because you'll have a light that leads to life. You can walk with light that leads to life, not death. The Pharisees were going that way. I am the light of the world that leads to life. The light of the world is the salvation. I am your salvation. I am your righteousness. If you follow me, you'll have that. You'll have your salvation. You'll have your righteousness. It'll lead you to life. It'll lead you to salvation, which is really awesome. How many of you have ever tried to walk in darkness? Try to walk through a campground in the dark with, bikes and toys and trees and all that kind of stuff. Man, it is a mess. If it is pitch black, you're stumbling over everything. But if you have a light, you can find your way. You can find your way quite easily. And Jesus is that light. It's a light that leads to life. Life in him, not death. So there you go. There's a message for today. Thank you for watching. Man, hope to see you guys tomorrow and have a great day.